Okay. Can I share it? Posts. Share. More options. Copy. We'll see how this goes. All right, so notifications. Okay, I don't know. Think somebody's watching. Might be me. I don't know. Trying to get it figured out. Dun, dun, dun. Check it and see. One following posts. Trying to get it figured out. So if you're not me watching, if you're you, give me a second. And publish. Hey, what's going on, Mons? All right, so this is my first time doing a live on Facebook, and I imagine it's not too much different than when you do it on Instagram. The difference is I'm doing it from my linked Facebook page from my Instagram, so I'm trying to get it onto the Firehouse page so Firehouse can share it on their page. So it's a whole lot to do. Now, I know if it was in a group, let's see, watching Captain America. Oh, good movie. So I know if it was in a group, I could go into the group and start my own live. But since I'm doing this from my linked Facebook page, I'm trying to get Firehouse to grab that without bouncing out and trying to say, hey, I'm live. Go share it. So I grabbed my iPad because I'm trying to do like two things at once here. So please bear with me as this is my first time trying to do what we are trying to accomplish today. So if I'm going to try to see if maybe Firehouse responded. So basically the premise of it is I'm going to do a live shaping. You guys will tell me either the tacky or the dark, right? And we'll use some Firehouse Wax. Okay, Firehouse Wax. Just posted a link. Okay, so I'm trying to watch to see who comes in, commented on your post. Okay, so hopefully Firehouse is watching. I'm not sure if I can check to see who's watching, but the plan is still to go live. I believe it's noon now. Right now we got about 4. So hopefully there'll be a couple more. And then I'm going to ask whether you guys want me to do the tacky today. Wow, that is bright. Okay. So I got the tacky wax standing by, and I got the dark wax standing by. I don't know if it's any better back here. If I take one of these lights out, it makes my forehead look all shiny. Anyways, that's the dark. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday. Wonderful Thursday. Just trying to check back and forth, see if they updated anything. Firehouse, they shared it. All right, so I got 3 watching now. I don't know how to check and see who's actually watching, but for those of you who are on, I guess start letting me know. Do you want me to try the dark today, or do you want me to try the tacky today? Just let me know and I'll try to see it in the comments. Okay. Chris, is it Christine, right? We're watching, but it's coming in through my wife's page. Oh, I see. Okay, so that's John. All right. So basically, I'm getting ready to get started. And so this will also probably be in the replay. Right now, I'm just trying to find out, what do you guys want me to do? You want me to do a dark shaping today, or you want me to do a tacky shaping today? Bo Pitts is watching. Well, hello, Bo. Hello, Christine. Hello, Mons. Hello, George. Hello, Paul. So we got a couple in here. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. So type in there whether you want dark or whether you want tacky. And the the lights are reflecting off it, so it's kind of hard to see. But believe me, dark, tacky. If not, I'm just going to pick on my own. So as we wait, I'll give it a couple more seconds. If nobody answers, I'll just pick one on my own. As we wait, my name is Bob. I have, of course, named my mustache Elliot Norris. Basically, if Chuck Norris and Sam Elliott kind of had a baby, this is what it would be. I stopped shaving December 2018. Kind of on a dare to stop shaving beards off. I wound up growing a beard for a year. Then I grew it out to about 20 months. And then I was ready to change over because everywhere I went, I saw everybody had these big beards and all that. But what I didn't see was a whole lot more pits of water. Tacky, all right, I got one tacky. So I didn't really see, big mustaches. So I decided to take the beard off and stayed with the mustache. And I'm kind of happy I did. I mean, I missed the beard a little bit, but, I like rocking the big old mustache. So I got one vote for tacky right now. So one of the things I'll say is, in some of my other videos, I do a lot of this on Instagram, but you need clean hands, clean, dry mustache, right? Now, if you put beard oil, beard balms into your mustache, tacky, that's two. If you put it into your mustache for maintenance and health, oil and wax do not really mix. So if you put oil in and then you put a wax in, it's going to start to break it down. Ooh, I got one dark. Then you're going to have some issues, or at least I have. One of the other things I found is make sure that you comb it out. Like yesterday, I didn't really comb it out well, and one side fanned out this way and the other side kind of went back. So as I was putting the wax in, the hair kept trying to lean forward, and I played heck. So I got like 3 tacky and only 1 dark. So it's only been about 4 minutes. We'll give it till about the 5th minute, right? Right now it's tacky. I'm not going to use any heat either to apply it. And you can. So there's my tacky. I used some of it the other day. And there is my dark. And you can tell I used it. Typically, what's recommended when you apply wax is you start off with like a pea size. Maybe go in here and start pushing it through and going and applying it through. So with most waxes, they're at room temperature. It's a certain consistency. And depending on its strength, you have to, all right, we got another tacky. So I think I'm going to go with tacky today. Sorry, dark. I love you, dark, but I'm going to put you away. Dark gives my mustache a wonderful bronze-like tint to it. But waxes at room temperature have a certain consistency, and you need to change that consistency to make it more pliable to go through your mustache. You can use various heating sources. I would not recommend anything that brings the wax to a liquid. Once it gets to a liquid, it's not good to use. You got to let it cool down. Plus, if you heat it up way too much, you can change that consistency, and you may not get the desired effect. So what I used to do in the beginning was I would set one with a paper towel under it on top of my coffee pot for about 15 minutes, and it would warm it from the bottom. Mons and I did a duo live the other day on Instagram, and he said one of his friends uses 2 rice bean bags, heats them up in the microwave, and then he sets the wax in between, and it warms the can. You could put it in your pocket and take it with you for a while, and that might soften it up. You could try running hot water, but my preferred method when I really want to change the consistency of a wax is run a hair dryer over top of it, low heat, until the wax gets a little shiny, right? And that'll change it enough that allow you to put it through, and then once it comes back to that room temperature consistency, it'll stiffen up. So without further ado, it is now 12:06. Let's get started. So I have various mustache combs. Finally, let us change to Firehouse. Oh, there you go. Firehouse mustache wax is in the house. So mustache combs, I started off with a long comb from my clipper set, which, had the wide teeth at one end and the fine teeth. and I found it was kind of hard putting it in, trying to do my mustache. So this is like a Kent comb. I have various combs. I typically will run a brush through. For me, what's really important is hair alignment. Because the way I do my mustache is I'm going to take the wax, put it through, and I'm going to tilt it kind of vertically and do it like that. Now, there are some people, as they put the wax in, they'll bunch up the hair and they'll do like a twist method, right? And there's nothing against that. We like the bronze tint. Yeah, I love it. I used to do that a lot, but what I found is when I would twist it, the ends would kind of go different directions. So I started doing another method where I would put the wax in and I would pinch it, and then I would start to form a cone. And then once I had it into a nice cone, then I would start to push the mustache up and over, but it still had a tendency to go forward. So I kind of went back to what I started with in the beginning, which was as I would put the wax in, I would rotate it out a little bit and then just pinch and fan. And you'll see me go through that. So once again, trial and error. That's how I've made it through. Practice, patience, and repetition. So when you put your wax in, the routine that you have today may change a little bit next week or next month based on how the hairs fall. I wouldn't make any trimming changes to your mustache or beard hair for about 3 weeks, because as you're putting the hair together, you might wind up rotating some of the hair and it'll stick out the end, and you trim it today. And then as you go through and you redo it tomorrow, the hair will lay a different way and all of a sudden it's short. So now you're going to trim it again. And then you look to this side and you're like, okay, now they're really uneven. You got to trim it. Next thing you know, the mustache is down to here. You shave it off and you start over. So don't make any major changes. It's better to wait on a minor change than it is to make a major change today and regret it in like a week. All right, I've been rambling. It's one of the things, if you ever watch some of my videos, you'll notice that I ramble quite a lot. All right. Aligning the hairs. I got the mirror right here, so don't think I'm trying to look away from you. I'm just trying to make sure I'm doing what I'm doing. So today is going to be the Firehouse Tacky. Yeah, it's a lot of light. There we go. Look at that. Firehouse Tacky. Sorry, it's backwards. I'm going to use my thumb. There are like little guitar picks type things. You scrape it out. It's your preference. I like to use my thumb. All right, so this is not a pea size. This is a little bit more than a pea size, but knowing my mustache, that's how I do it. I do 2 to 3 times in the beginning. So most waxes have a certain amount of sticky, right? So you can change that quite a lot by how much you rub it, right? You change that pliability. Now it's not as sticky, but that's how I want it in the beginning because I want it to go through my mustache. Now I put a little bit of tension as I put it in, and I take my hand, the fingers on the top and my thumb underneath are trying to align the hairs. I'm looking for what I call little knots. And that's why I brushed it, and that's why I combed it, because those knots will be, as the hair is going down, one hair might come underneath and it'll be like this. And later, as I'm trying to do some shaping, that hair will pop out. And as I try to fix it, it'll split the mustache. Well, that's not bad already with just one little bit of the wax in there. You can do both sides. I've seen people where they'll take the wax, they put it between the fingers, rub it, and they'll start this way. It's your preference. Your preference. This is just how I like to do it. I start with one side, get a certain amount of wax in, because really what I'm looking for is how it's starting to lay as I put the wax in, so that I know how far to pull it down, because one side of my mustache loves to take a beautiful curl and the other one likes to kind of go down and out. So I play heck trying to keep them symmetrical. True symmetry, I don't think you'll ever find it. I hide my mustache deficiencies with wax. So let's see. There we go. Trying to pull it. Plus I'm right-handed. So as I'm switching sides, I don't pull it quite the same. Don't mean to go silent. Just trying to concentrate. So as I mentioned in the very beginning, as we were getting things set up, is one of the things I try to do to combat the curls, the tips of the curls leaning forward, is two ways. One is as it's wet and I am brushing it to align the hairs and let it dry, I try to pull it back down here like this. Another thing I'll do is as I'm shaping my handlebar, I will have a tendency to pull it back towards my ear. And then later on, as I'm starting to make that curl, it will naturally want to go forward, but because I've already started to bend it backwards, it will only go so far. Because if I'm trying to straighten it out now, as I'm putting the curls in, it's going to rotate towards you. And I don't want it to do that. One of the other things that I like to do is with all wax that I use, all shapings, is I'll get a base shape in, right? I'll get the wax in there, I'll run the comb through, and then I'll kind of redo the shaping a little bit. And then I like to let it set for just a couple of minutes. And by doing that, I'm letting the wax go back to more like the room temperature consistency. And then I'll come in and I'll start to make adjustments. I have found in the almost 2 years of me shaping, the mustache is a little more than 2 years old now, that if you are trying to make your mustache and it's not quite working and you just keep adding more and more wax on, you're not letting it get back to that room temperature consistency. And it can be frustrating. So I'm bending it back a little bit. I don't care if I got some loose hairs in here. I don't care if I got a couple of loose hairs on the end. I'll fix that up. The main thing I'm trying to do now is set a foundation, get the wax in, and start training the hair of where and what I want it to do. So I had posted, I think in my little page, if you follow this link back to my little Facebook, Instagram linked page, a photo, I think it was yesterday, and I had several different styles of mustaches. One of the main questions I get asked, the number one question is, how do I eat? And I should have did this before I put wax in. Mine's going a million miles per minute. So when it's natural, I'll take 2 fingers, part the mustache, and hold it up. And then I can, eat. Or I will take what I call knife hand, right? Put it underneath and lift it up. So it looks silly now, and it'll look silly if you're out eating and in the beginning, but after a while you get used to it, because I knew I wanted long hairs for a big handlebar mustache. I had never grown a mustache or beard or anything like that beyond about 3 months before. So I wasn't sure what was going to be needed. So here, I'll pull it out. These middle hairs are way down here. So they're going to go over top of my mouth. And if you're not careful, they'll go in your mouth and you bite it. What deficiencies with that stuff? Well, so to show you real quick, this side is nice and thick all the way out to here. This side, I did a trim around 13 months. And I think this side is narrower than this side. So I have to pinch it together a little bit more to make them look a little more even. I can fix it by letting it all grow out, but there's a couple contests coming up for the mustache, and I don't want loose hairs all over the place. I just won nationals. I got to show off, right? I just won first place, the Beard Team USA National 2020 handlebar mustache category. They're having their next competition in Scranton, PA, September 11th. So I had thought, because Worlds is going to be in New Zealand, April 2023, I thought maybe I'll shave it all off, do a complete regrow from, start to finish. And we'll see. I'll try to come in, I won't trim anything for almost 2 years and kind of go from there. But with nationals coming up in September, I don't think I can regrow enough of a mustache to defend my title. All right. It's looking a little ugly right now, but it's okay. I'll run a comb through it. Just trying to train it, make sure it goes back. But this again is the tacky. I keep a paper towel around. I also keep like a shop rag. Keep those fingers dry and clean. You don't want oils on your fingers, so make sure they're definitely dry before you start. And one of the things that I do talk about and preach because I've done it so many times, I've forgotten, is if you're not keeping the wax off your fingers, right? Especially in the style that I'm doing. And I'm going through and I'll have to hold and I'll slide, right? Well, if this has got a bunch of tacky wax on it and I'm pinching down a little bit and I'm sliding, I'm like, oh, that looks good. And I go to release, see how it stuck a little bit? Well, I've had it where it's gone through and split the hairs out. And I'm like, oh, and I got to start all over. I'll have it like almost beautiful and the hair will get kind of messed up. So while I let it set a little bit, and then I'm going to run a comb through them, and I'm going to put a little more of the tacky wax in. Some of my photos, you'll notice that I have these big closed curls and it looks very natural. I use rollers. So the set I got originally was from Target. And it's a set of just various hair rollers, different diameters. The ones I prefer to use, these guys will give me a nice tight closed curl. And what I do is, after the shower, I leave the mustache slightly damp. I'll put beard oil in it, and I'll usually put a little bit of beard balm that has like just a tiny bit of beeswax in it for those flyaway hairs. And so there's 2 ways to roll the hair, and I let it set for about an hour. There's a back roll method where I'll straighten out the hairs, and I'll lay it on top of the roller, and I'll roll it in. And once I get it all the way in, I then take it and I rotate it vertically so it sits on my face. And I'll leave that for about an hour. Unroll it, straighten it out, and then I do what's called a front roll. The back roll will cause the hair to go back here, right? So the front roll will cause the hair to go forward. So I try to counteract it. I've been playing with 45 minutes and 25 minutes, but I typically do an hour and 20 minutes. So the front roll method, once I straighten it back out, I'll lay the roller on top and then roll it back. So I'll roll it all the way back and then I rotate it vertically and I let it set for 20 minutes. And then once I pull it out, it'll be kind of forward and then I'll run a brush through, but the hair stays together pretty well. I found letting it air dry seems to work the best. The second set of rollers that I commonly use for a more open-ended curl are the big blues. I have a set of the green ones. I've only put them in like 2-3 times. I don't like how it turns out because I want it to fan out more. So just to give you an idea, those are the small rollers and those are my big blue rollers. And those are the ones I mostly use. For those tuning in late, it was a simple roller kit from Target. It comes with various sizes. I don't think I'm ready to move up to the pink or the purple yet. I don't think I'm there yet. All right. So I've been jabbering. I've put the tacky wax in. I took the mustache and started pulling it back towards my ear so that the hair or the curls will naturally want to kind of go back as I started to put them together because I don't want them like leaning forward and I don't want them necessarily turning forward. So I've got a mustache specific comb. It's a Kent comb I have today. Another thing is like with wood combs generally won't produce a lot of static. So if you're doing more of a natural mustache, wood combs can help out with that. Metal combs aren't too bad. You got to watch out for the wax that builds up inside of here. So a metal comb, you can heat it up, it softens the wax and you can generally wipe it off. Mustache comb maintenance is kind of good to do maybe once a week because like I'm going to run this through the wax. It'll get a wax buildup. Thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping to be a 2-time champion come this September. So now I'm going to run the comb through slowly and gently. And this not only aligns hair, but it spreads the wax. Now, as you are combing, brushing, doing different things, it's not uncommon to shed a little bit of hair. If you're losing 10 to 12 to 15 to 20 hairs every time you're doing it, you may want to look at how you're doing it because that's a lot of hair. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of bunch them up and gently do somewhat like a cone. Still shaping it back towards my ear. Okay, other side. And this is the hard part because now I gotta do it over my shoulder. Go through gently. Now, bringing both hands in. Kind of pushing it together. See, I need it flatter right through here. I always get a little nervous doing these lives too, because, well, one, I don't want to be swearing a whole bunch if something goes wrong, right? But I'm always afraid, like, oh yeah, check it out, watch what I do, and then, you know, something goes wrong. But, you know, that's what happens sometimes when you're in your bathroom getting ready, right? Some things can go wrong. I was doing a live one time and things didn't kind of work out the way I wanted, so I just took the comb through. Let me start over. It was a longer one, but it wasn't too bad. So now I'm going to try. I don't know if I've done this with the tacky wax. I've been really hammering in the dark. So there's a mustache competition, Beards by the Bay, on the 23rd. And I think I'm going to try to rock the Firehouse Dark. I like that bronze that it kind of gives me in my mustache. I'm going to try to do what I call like a signature style, where I take the mustache and roll it up like that. All right, don't want you to be too sticky. A couple little straggler hairs in there. I will definitely try to mush those down, get that more to a point. Like, I could trim some of these hairs off, but I don't know if they're actually too long or just the way I shaped it, you know, or they just sticking out today. So if they do it again over the course of, say, a week, I might take them out. A little more, just a little bit more, a little bit of rubbing. Try not to pinch too much with his hand. Just a little bit of pressure so that I don't wide flatten it, if that makes sense. Now the middle, I will definitely go back over towards the end. So for me, I know through here, a lot of times the wax won't stay very, very well because I'm constantly breathing. And that warm moisture from my breath has a tendency to start to break it down a little bit. All right. Trying to make sure both sides look somewhat symmetrical. Oh, get over there. I always get like one or two little hairs from right here that are really long that just don't want to play with the rest of them. They'll pop out. All right, I need to start bringing that fella over. Definitely clean your hands up. Clean those hands. Shop rag needs to go in the wash. I think the last time I washed it, though, I turned a lot of stuff red. I got in trouble. We'll bend back towards the ear. Now I gotta get this other side. Go back towards the ear. Wider. So just a little pinch, little pinches. Sound like Bob Ross making mustaches if Bob Ross was still alive and instead of paintings he did mustaches, right? Just gonna do a little pinch right here. That Ben needs a little friend, right? All right. And one of the things, like right now, the temperature outside is relatively cool. So, as I was mentioning in the beginning, you take the wax from this room temperature consistency. And today, all I'm doing to change it for pliability purposes is rubbing it between my fingers. But you walk outside or open your freezer door or something like that, and you get some cold air on here, and it can speed that, what I call setting, which is going back to room temperature, where it's stiffer, firmer. Oh, you little booger, right there. Just wanted to make sure it looked nice for you guys, right? I didn't want to just slap in a bunch of wax and be like, it's good, right? So for me, a lot of times when I'm putting a mustache together, if I'm like, if I'm going to post a photo, man, it's got to look pretty good. Unless I'm trying to show where I slept on it, you know, and it wasn't quite ruined. Which I find out, if I lay the pillow in here, like folded, you know, I can generally wake up and have a semi-nice mustache for when I go out to the bus stop with my daughter. Let me get some wax in there on the ends. Just a little bit. Making sure this hand is clean, because I don't want to be holding here, doing this like, oh, look how beautiful it looks, and split, right? Not trying to be a perfectionist. I'm just saying, you know, trying to make it look nice for you guys. I got Firehouse watching right now. Hopefully everybody's having a wonderful Thursday. What are you? Ooh. It's a little thinner on this side. But I'm not going to sit here for like 2 hours like, no, it's not perfect. Mush it in right there. Just a little bit. A little bit. Make Bob Ross very happy. Yeah, and as I was mentioning before, as far as like I know my deficiencies between my mustaches, one side's like a little bit longer, but thinner. I think it's this side. And this side's not as long, but it's thicker, longer out. So it's kind of crazy. So basically, I don't know how many minutes that's been. I don't have a watch. I think it started at like 12:06, so like 23 minutes later. Not bad. And I typically would go through, finish it up with just a little extra wax through here, because I know that my breathing is going to start to break that down a little bit. And I'm always tweaking my mustache throughout the day. I'll bump it, and it'll lean. But that's what I like about wax. There's some guys out there that use hairspray, and once you kind of put that in, it's not as forgiving for bumping it, putting your jacket on, doing something of that nature. So I can make adjustments throughout the day. I can go out and stand in the sun, let it get, you know, warmed up a little bit, what have you, and make that adjustment. You put hairspray in, and I've done it before. I don't have a whole lot of experience with it. So what I can speak to is the limited experience, which is you spray hairspray on your fingers. Once you kind of get your mustache where you're like, okay, it really looks good, is you then rub the hairspray in. Don't spray it directly on. And then that'll help set. Well, one of the times I did it, I thought my mustache looked good, but I wasn't paying attention. And as I mentioned, one side likes to go down and out. The other side likes to go like that. And I put the hairspray in. So I went to work, and one side was up like this. And so, you know, I'm walking around, and I think I was at work for about an hour, and I went into the bathroom or something. I looked in the mirror, and I'm like, oh my God, that looks so dumb. So I kept pulling it down. Well, the hairspray snapped it right back up. So for me, I prefer wax. So do I have any questions from anybody out there? Any questions? I love Dr. Pepper. That's when you don't need to ask, right? Today's shaping, brought to you by Firehouse Tacky. I know it's going to be backwards. Well, thank you guys for watching. I'm on Instagram. That's where I post a lot of my stuff. That stuff gets pushed over to my Facebook page, which is Bob and Elliot. I am Bob, and this is Elliot Norris, my mustache. I named it so basically if Sam Elliott and Chuck Norris had a baby, it would have been my mustache. Yeah, anytime you send me a message, Instagram, my Facebook page, the Bob and his mustache Elliot. I'll try to get back with you. So basically what I said, if you haven't watched from the beginning, is that it's trial and error. It's also practice, patience, and repetition. So for the first year I grew a mustache, I waxed it every single day just to get that routine down. And from month to month, it would vary a little bit because the hair would grow or it would fall a little bit different. One thing I'll say, if you're growing a mustache, a long mustache, that's your intent, and you have a beard, be careful not to include the hair from right here. I did that in the beginning where it made my mustache look thicker, and I'd get the wax and everything was good until about an hour later, the wax would harden up. And as I yawned, or if I went to eat something and I opened my mouth, that tension pulled on the hairs and just split the mustache. So what I started doing is I'd take a comb through and I'd hold the mustache, group it, and then take a comb and start pulling those hairs out. Anything that had tension on it right around in here had to go. And then once I did that, it was a little bit thinner for a little while, but it got much better afterwards. And I was happier because I didn't have to fix my mustache as many times as I did during the day. Bob Ross, man, used to love watching those photos. Sometimes I try to keep myself entertained in here. See, I'll go through the day and go through and try to make it perfect, right? Because I know this side's a little bit thicker, but you get the basic idea. That was the tacky wax, went in very well. I didn't use any heat. It was easy enough to do. Excuse me. I also love the dark because it takes my blonde mustache and gives it a bronze type look. Because most of mine is blonde, but every now and then I'll get a few white hairs because I'm not 25 anymore, and so that bronze to me helps give it a uniform color. Yes, anytime. So, unless there's no further questions, anybody got a question, I'll give like another minute or so. And if not, I'll pop off of here. I want to thank all of you for joining the live. Thank anybody who is watching the replay. The two waxes I've used so far is the dark and the tacky. This was the tacky. Firehouse, if I remember right, you're out of Mississippi. So, John and Christine Pitts. Wonderful folks over there. So, if there are no questions, you know where to find me. Send me messages, tag me if you like, send me a comment, something of that nature, and I'll always try to give you my experiences, and hopefully it helps you out. Thank you, everybody. And normally what I usually do is I say, once again, I am Bob, and this is Elliot Norris, my mustache. You have a wonderfully bearded day. Now I got to figure out how to turn off a live on Facebook, right? I can do it on Instagram. No, it tells me we've been live for 37 minutes. Oh, the finish button right down here at the bottom. I'm going to point to it right there. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Bye-bye.